Hey everybody, it's Keith, and this is the Common Sense Practical Prepper Podcast. We're going to call this episode 11, Car Talk. So on the way to work this morning, and the podcast I released a few days ago, the following day, so the day after that, a lot of what they call leading economic indicators were released. So in a nutshell, gas prices are starting to creep up. The inflation jumped a little more than they thought, and basically the economy really didn't grow as much. So it's basically stagnant. So that basically caused the stock market to drop about 1,100 points. Hearing that news, everybody's getting a little worried. Obviously, with the prices of everything creeping up, and now we're coming into the winter months. So the stock market dropped about 1,100 points, but again, the one-day results from the stock market isn't necessarily, a trend, but the stock market certainly reacts positively or negatively depending on the news that's coming out. Okay, in addition to that, I did not realize that there is a pending railroad strike here in the United States. This coming Sunday at midnight. The railroad executives and the unions have been in negotiations for quite some time, and the unions voted to strike. The government stepped in and initiated what they call a cooling off period, so everybody can kind of take a step back and come back to the table, I guess, with some fresh ideas or whatever. The reason the government gets involved is because it's basically interstate commerce. It's goods and products that are very, very important to the survival of the United States. The government does not get involved into a labor dispute with, Walmart or Home Depot or whatever it happens to be. But the ramifications of a network-wide and a nationwide rail strike would be absolutely devastating. A lot of people will say, well, just go ahead and pick up the slack with tractor trailers and truck drivers. However, and granted, the vast majority, 60-some% of our products are transported by tractor trailers. However, 40% of what you see in front of you at a store was on a train, was on rail at some point in its lifespan. So you take away the ability to move things by rail, and it just exacerbates the supply chain issue. Plus, we don't have enough truck drivers, pilots. We don't have enough servers at Applebee's, to bring us back to pre-COVID levels. After the lockdowns, a lot of companies let people go. The airlines let pilots go. Trucking companies let drivers go. Applebee's let servers go. And a lot of these people stayed in retirement or they found another job. So they're having a very difficult time bringing these people back into their workforce. So we can't just all of a sudden just push a button, and 50,000 truck drivers show up. The truck driving schools are absolutely packed, along with your flight schools, because people, younger folk, they want to be pilots and they want to work their way up to the airlines, because as you know, airlines are really hurting right now for pilots and qualified, mechanics and flight attendants. So you see cancellations all the time, and it's always not because of the weather. It's because they just don't have the flight crews to put on the planes. So very interesting. We'll have to see what happens. If it happens at midnight, I don't know if there'll be a lot of panic buying, or there'll be a run on toilet paper, at all the stores like pre-COVID level. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how well it's going to be advertised. An airline strike, a trucker strike. I don't know if the railroad strike is going to get enough traction and enough coverage to start some panic buying. Now with social media, somebody's going to say something, it's going to spread like wildfire, and you certainly may see a run on certain food items. So if I were you, I'd probably make a run to Costco, Walmart, Sam's Club, wherever you go, especially if you're here in the U.S., and maybe pick up a couple extra things. Actually, I'm good. I look at my prepper pantry, and for 72 hours a week, a month, we're good. So I'm set. So I don't necessarily need to worry about that. But if I go to Costco or I go somewhere this weekend, I might grab a few extra things in addition to my regular list. Okay, just wanted to drop that in. That, like I said, that railroad strike news kind of hit me by surprise. I had no idea. So anyway, folks, thanks for tuning in. This has been the Common Sense Practical Prepper Podcast, Episode 11, Car Talk. And as always, be safe, take care of one another. Until next time.